This was indeed maybe not the worst beat I've ever seen, but by far the most depressing, as my opponent had pocket fives, and they flopped fives full, and they slow played it, and by the river they were playing the board with quad threes and five high. Let's get started with a big pot. Someone's getting stacked this hand. I've got pocket jacks, the big blind. It folds to the button. Who's gonna raise? Pretty big raise, full pot size. I'm gonna 4x it anyway. Pocket jacks are nice because I can call a 4-bet or I can jam over one. Either one's probably fine. They did decide to just call those. So we see a flop. I flop top set. Cool. Now, here's the thing. There's a flush possible. All right. So I don't have the nuts or anything, but I have the nut draw, right? Which is great. If you remember, if you've been watching any of the other episodes, maybe episode 7, this player is the player that I made a significant fold to, and that I think I fast played something that perhaps I could have played slower and given them some more rope. I decided to go ahead and just put it in, and thinking that my opponent's going to call it off quite often, which, you know, they don't. And they just bet pot, full pot, which is more than pot, but it's actually pot without the rake. So I fold. We saw later in that hand, in that video, that this player actually kind of likes to bluff. So I'm going to check it to them, and I'm going to give them some rope, and they are going to say, okay, I can fashion a noose out of that rope, and I'm going to call. We don't know yet whether that noose is for them or for me. So things are getting dark quick, huh? I'm going to check it again. Now, if they bet here, I'm going to check raise all in. Sure, I can be behind, but even when I'm behind, I've got 10 outs. Well, I guess if they have 8, 9, I've only got 9 outs, because the 10 of spades would give them a straight flush. But overall, I'm pretty much liking my hand here, right? I think that they're going to bet some, and they bet a lot. They bet all of it, and I called this bet so fast. And, you can pause the video and guess what this player had. Maybe they had something like ace-queen with the queen of spades, or the ace of spades, or just like no spade. So they do have a gut shot, so they've got 4 outs I gotta dodge, but instead of that, I fill up on the river, and good thing they didn't have 8, 9 of spades, because that would have gotten there, and that would have been a pretty unpleasant hand. A short time later, same table. It folds to the same player who raises the cutoff now. I am going to 4x it again, this time out of the small blind. The big blind folds, and maybe we can play a big pot with this person. We're like 200 something blinds deep, so that could be exciting, but it's not. All right, let's go back to the thing where I'm the big blind and they're the button and they raise the button, and now I just defend because pocket fours, what am I going to do? I'm just going to call. The flop comes ace 4 5, which is really good for my hand. I mean, I have the third nuts, but like deuce 3 seems unlikely. I guess possible. Pocket aces, larger concern. Pocket 5, certainly possible. I'm going to check it to them. I'm checking my whole range here, and they put in a bet for half pot. Now this is a little bit on the larger side, but it's not really big. I do think this is a player who I want to just let them keep betting. So I'm just going to call. I could raise and see if they're the type of player who wants to play back at me, but I think there's a ton of hands that just have very little equity that they're going to give up with if I check raise them. But if I check call, they might try and push me off my, like ace 6 or something like that, or who knows, even pocket 7s or whatever. So the turn's a 10, and I check, and they bet again. Now this is a small bet size, and I felt like if I put in a raise in here, some currents. If I put a raise in here, they are probably going to fold a lot of hands. So I'm going to call again. The only downside is when someone makes this small of a turn bet, it feels like pretty often they're going to check back the river. But I had confidence in this player. I thought, you know what? If anyone can do it, you can fire the third barrel even after a tiny turn bet. And in fact, they do fire the third barrel. There it is. 15 into 25, basically. So 60% pot. Significant river size, right? But not huge. So there are some hands that beat me, right? Ace 10 got there. Pocket aces still possible. Pocket 5s as well. Hand like 10-5, 10-4 seems pretty unlikely, but I guess they could have those suited maybe. But actually 10-4 they cannot have suited because of just the cards out. I'm going to put in a raise anyway. I figure I'm going to tell them exactly what my hand is by making it 44. I like to do this sometimes. Sometimes when I have the thing, sometimes when I don't have the thing. I don't know. I'm weird. Whatever. And they tanked for so long. And I'm sitting there thinking, call, 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 call. And then after a while, I'm like, are they like doing that acting thing where you wait and then you jam? And I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to do if they jam? Like, it's pretty gross. I was actually probably going to fold because I just don't think that many people are 3-bet jam bluffing the river 200 blinds deep against my incredibly strong looking line. So they fold. So it's a bit anticlimactic, but fortunately, you know, I get to win the pot. So hit like if you like winning pots. All right, it folds to me on the button. I pick up super premium, big lick. I'm gonna make it the normal amount that I make it, and the big blind's gonna defend. And we're gonna flop top 2 pair. Really nice flop, right? 9-6-4, pretty wet here with, you know, on this board where I happen to have 6-9. So they check it to me, and I'm definitely going to bet. I think I should bet this larger size, like half pot, maybe even 3/4 on a board like this. Very dynamic, right? The turn, the nuts are always going to change on the turn here. Like, unless it's a 9, and then 9-9 stays the nuts. But everything else makes a straight or is an overcard. Lots of flushy things can happen. And so I use this sizing, and they unfortunately just fold and tell me that I can take my 69 and go home with myself. And yeah, I don't know. There was probably another way to end that sentence more gracefully. And the memes keep on coming as I pick up 9-6. Oh, I guess this is 9-6. Does it not count? I don't know. Anyway, I raise, I get called, and I flop top pair on another one of these all spade boards. So what am I going to do? I'm going to bet at least one time. I bet on the smaller side. I don't know about this. I'm really not sure what I should do. If I'm going to check any top pair, this would probably be it. I guess there's some top pair like 9-8 with the 8 of spades that maybe makes a better check. I don't know. Maybe even ace-9 with the ace of spades is just very robust. But here I put the bet in and they call, and then the turn's a 5. And I think that's a real bad card for me, right? It's not good for my range. They have called pre, they have called flop. They're going to have more of this middle pair in their range, I think. I'm going to check a lot of 5x on the flop, and I'm going to fold a bunch of pre. So I'm just going to check to them, and they check it back. And the river's a deuce. And I think maybe I can value bet now against like a 4. There's not a lot of weaker 9s. Maybe pocket 8, 7, 6s. I think those 3-bet some pre, but maybe I can get value there. Anyway, I check, and they check it back. And they also have a 9, and they just pit me. So, yeah. All right, another one that could potentially be a big pot. There's a raise. I 3-bet to 9-11. Why? I don't know. I think I hit pot and clicked it back one. This is fine. Who cares? They're going to call, and we're going to flop pretty darn good. They check it to us, and I think top set, we actually want to check back here a fair amount. I'm going to bet this board a good deal, but with a hand like this, there's just not that much for them to have. So I want to let them kind of maybe develop some interest in the pot. And the turn is a pretty interesting card. Now I got a boat and there's a flush possible. I guess I only have the third nuts, right? They could have quads or a steel wheel, a straight flush to the 5. And they bet out saying, yeah, maybe I got quads. Maybe I got a steel wheel. Probably not. Probably something like hearts or the extra ace or maybe just a heart. So I'm just going to call. I'm going to let them make a flush if they have a flush draw. And really, a heart on the river wouldn't be bad, right? If they have a heart, if they have an ace, and then an ace, then a heart wouldn't be as good. But like maybe they could make 2 pair. Maybe they got pocket 8s and an 8 can come. And this is a really weird kind of bad beat river because it's the last ace. And now they check to me. And what on earth is left for them to have? You know, I think my bet size here almost doesn't matter. They're just going to fold a ton. I decided to go on the smaller side. I bet 14 and no suspense. They just folded. But like, if I bet even small, like if I bet 4, are they going to mess with me or call? Am I losing value to like a flush that might call for 14? I don't know. I'm sure the solver wants me to bet bigger because it's just like, whatever, just make them decide with their flushes. But like, I think humans are just folding flushes here all the time. I don't know, maybe not. Give me your thoughts. This is a weird hand. And I won the pot with quads. Let's go to one more hand of quads. A weirder quads. All right, buckle up and dig in for some Schadenfreude. It folds to me on the button. I'm going to raise with Jack 10 offsuit, and the big blind calls. The flop comes 3-3-5. They check it to me, and I'm going to make a standard c-bet of third pot because this board just, I mean, it hits them a little more than me, but I've got all these big overpairs, and I'm just going to bet range here, and they just call. All right, turns at 3. They check it to me. This is not a good card to get folds on, so I'm going to check it back. Like, I could bet here sometimes, right? But I'm going to have some, like, straight draws and stuff to bluff with. Jack 10 feels like, yeah, let's spike a jack. Let's spike a 10. Make a boat. Or make quads? And I'm thinking, first of all, if they were to bet, this is a very interesting hand to turn into a call for reasons. But they check. And I'm thinking, should I bluff with this? Can I get, like, queen high or king high to fold? I mean, ace high is the nuts now, right? So I'm like, you know what? No, let's just check it back. I mean, I guess I have some showdown value. And this was indeed maybe not the worst beat I've ever seen. Definitely not the worst beat I've ever seen. But by far the most depressing, as my opponent had pocket fives. And they flopped fives full. And they slow played it. And by the river, they were playing the board with quad threes and 5 high. So yeah, slow play is no play. Maybe don't do that. Maybe put in a check raise. Maybe don't. I don't know. Maybe just get a better run out. Painful.